Hey, this is Joe from Home Studio Corner, and this is the 7th and final episode of Mixed Together Season 4. We're going to finish this sucker up today. Let's dive in. Okay, we left off last week. We were working through the list that we had created. Remember, step 5, the final step, is to listen all the way through to the song, take notes on what needs to change, and then go through those notes like a to-do list and only stick to the list, then repeat the process until there's nothing left to fix. As you can see here, rules 1 and rule 2. Okay, so Cymbal's a little old at 65. I don't remember what I was talking about. Let's just go to bar 65 and listen and see if we can figure out what I mean.
Your laugh, your smile, your eyes, your glow. We miss your laugh, your smile, your eyes, your glow. Now everyone's looking for
I don't know if I was talking about the little cymbal, the little tambourine thing. Cymbal's a little old. I literally am forgetting what I meant by that. So we're fine. We've done it. Elle is too loud at 73. So right here.
Everyone's looking for Elle.
You hear that? Like, it's funny how those things get by when you're mixing. Listen to the vocal again.
Everyone's looking for Elle.
Yeah, just for whatever reason, the way it's coming through, the compressor's not catching it. It's just extra loud. So this one is, what I'm going to do with this is actually use, now if you don't have Studio One, you can't do it exactly this way. I'm going to use something called gain envelopes, which is kind of a destructive sort of an automation where I can automate this down, specifically in the spots where it's being a little, so like it was more loud towards the end of the phrase and not the beginning, but I can see it visually changing that, which is cool too.
Everyone's looking for Elle.
Overall, still just too loud. We'll take the whole thing down a little bit.
Everyone's looking for Elle.
So one thing about looking at waveforms is that looks too low, right? It looks like if it was going to sound as loud as it does, that the waveform would be, you know, bigger than this one. But that's just sometimes visually, what you see visually doesn't match up with what's actually happening in real life. And that happens a lot of times when folks want to really use like spectrum analyzers to inform their mixing decisions. Those can be useful, but if you're relying on them, then you may look at this visually and say, well, no, that's certainly not too loud, but then you listen and maybe it is. So now this feels right.
Everyone's looking for Elle.
I could even go down a little bit more. See, now that we've started on this train, I kind of want to keep chilling it out a little bit and maybe bring this point back up a little bit.
Everyone's looking for Elle. Where are you?
Okay, that feels good. I don't want to go too far now because now that I've listened to it, that's all I hear. And no matter what I do, it's going to sound too loud because, you know, that's just this human nature thing that's going on. So I'm going to say that I'm happy for that. See if it sticks out to me in the next listen. Check Vox Minds at bar 19. Yeah, less verb. I don't remember that either, so just got to figure it out. Here we go. Come on.
And too many small minds.
Okay, so that's just specifically this S right here. It was just too loud. We have a de-esser in place, and it's just not catching that one. I believe we have a de-esser. That's probably what this one's doing. Yes. Rather than trying to get the de-esser to fix it on that one spot, that's the only sibilance I heard that was too much. So I'll just use either clip gain or this clip gain envelope to just bring that down to something more reasonable. Okay, that's too far. Let's split the difference. Something like that.
And too many small minds.
Okay, a little bit lower. See, we're in that spot where now that it's got my attention, everything sounds wrong.
And too many small minds.
Okay, and we'll see if we decide that the sibilance on the vocal overall, especially in the verses, is too much. Less reverb. I must have already done that. Okay, cool. So we've gotten through our first round. Now it's time to do it again. So here's what I would recommend. When you get to this point where you've gone through go through one batch just sitting in your studio, listening on your studio monitors, do exactly what I've done. But this second batch, I would recommend doing a few listens before you come back. It doesn't have to be now, but when you've gotten to where like that last list wasn't huge, so we're pretty close, at some point I want to make sure that I go and listen on my speakers here, of course, but also on my earbuds. I listen to a lot of music on the original AirPods, so I want to listen on here as well. But I also don't want to be sitting in front of the mix either. I want to listen kind of in my normal environment while I'm on a walk or while I'm going to the store or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to this again, and I'm going to have it render. I'm going to listen to it first, but I'm also going to export it into my Dropbox folder and pull it up on my phone and listen to it on my earbuds. So one thing that I do, just a little, I hate the word hack, but it's just a little hack. I have a folder in my Dropbox account that I call Transfer Bucket, and it's kind of on all my computers. It's down here in the menu bar, and it's saved as like a favorite location on the Dropbox app on my phone. So I can quickly get there, and anything I've dropped into that Transfer Bucket shows up. So I can quickly find this once I export it and listen. Here's what we'll do. For the sake of showing you how that's done and for the listen down, I'm going to export this song. We'll call it Looking for Elle, Listen To or something. And I'm going to export it as a 320K MP3. You can also use waves. That's fine too. We'll go between the start and end marker. And I'm going to use real-time processing so that I get the, we can listen to it now while it's rendering, and then I'll go listen to it on my phone as well. So at this point in the video, make note of the time marker, timestamp on this video, and do the same if you want. Listen to this in your studio, on your studio monitors, then rewind it and listen again on earbuds, and see if you get any different information, because I get different information from this than I do here. A lot of times stuff in the upper mids, stuff with the vocals, cymbals, some of those brighter things, it's a little more clear here. And also just get a general gist of, is the low end working? Does the low end work on these? Does it sound like other records I listen to on these have the similar kind of balance of frequencies and things? That's what I'm listening for. So I'm gonna hit OK here. It's gonna start rendering the song, and in real time, you listen along, take your notes, I'll listen and take my notes, and then I'll also do a second listen on my own and take extra notes on these, then I'll come back. All right, here we go.
So she's probably on her way to Hollywood. No future here, and too many small minds. Elle could only drive down Main Street so many times. Oh, Elle, where did you run?
Okay, and we're back. Here are the things I listened to on my earbuds that stuck out to me. Actually, the first thing was the bass. The overall low end, which surprisingly felt a little too much. I mentioned earlier in this series, I'm on a new set of speakers that the low end is just different than I'm used to. So that's why it's so important to check your mixes on other sources to give you like a perspective and a reality. I love a lot of bass, just generally speaking. But I've got a little bit too much. So I don't know if it's bass or kick. I think it might be just the overall low frequencies of my mix need to come down a little bit. Tambourine needs to come down. It felt especially loud on earbuds. And there's a little clipping sound at the end. Let's just work backwards a little bit. So now I kind of combine all of this feedback together and just work through it together. So I see tambo down at pre-chorus 1. The tambourine just needs to go down overall. So let's just let's do that, and then I'll deal with that other thing. So tambourine is on I think it's on this track here. Okay, so the tambourine is baked into the percussion. Interesting. So I can't go in and manually just change the tambourine sound. Now, honestly, I'm not hearing a lot of that percussion because the tambourine is so loud. I want to try something just for fun. And I want to, my windows never open back up where I want them to. I want to try adding an EQ to this percussion track and then just EQing out just the tambourine somewhat. That did it. So when you think about this needs to be turned down, sometimes it's just a volume thing. Here, we couldn't just turn it down. We would turn all the percussion down. So the option was to turn down certain frequencies. It might be the same if you have a piano that needs to turn down. Maybe it's just some of the frequencies of the piano and not the whole piano. That's always an option, but that problem is solved. Let's fix this little clip at the fade out. Another good reason to listen on earbuds or headphones, but earbuds especially for some reason, is you hear these little clips in the audio, like where something's not faded out properly. So let's find that. Okay, it was the bass track, had just a little blip where I'm guessing he kicked off a pedal or the recording stopped or something. So we're gonna get rid of that and we're gonna fade that out a little bit. Just so in case you didn't hear it, here's what I was hearing, a little click sound. Turn it up a little bit. Right there. That's just, it's little stuff like that that makes it feel unprofessional. So we just cut it off and fade it out just a little bit. Maybe a bit of a longer fade so it doesn't sound as obvious. Okay, great. Took care of that thing at the beginning. I had the start marker wasn't in the right spot. The song starts closer to, come here, zoom in, like the 3rd or 4th bar. Yeah, right before bar 3. So we'll put the start marker right there so that when we export, it actually exports the right thing and doesn't give us a bunch of gaps at the beginning. That's kind of audio 101. I love the downbeat of the choruses. Let's deal with the overall bass thing. Let me go and listen kind of to...
Down like she arrived down. Where did you run? The day you left this town wasn't any fun.
So I'm going to use the EQ that's already on my master bus. And I'm going to adjust this low shelf to kind of get it in right. Because it feels like both kick and bass are too much. So I'm going to try it at 220 first and then 100 and just see which one is encapsulating kind of that extra low end that I'm hearing.
Where did you run? The this town wasn't any fun, no. Now everyone's looking for Elle. Everyone's wondering where she is.
That's pretty aggressive. Almost 3 dB of a shelf this late in the mix on our entire mix. But I don't care. I'm happy with it. That feels good. Sounds good to me. Boom. Problem solved. See, that's a top-down solution. Bring down the drum fill at the end of the break so the chorus hits harder. I absolutely agree. So the way we're going to do that is with automation.
Now
Yeah, I want it to be bigger right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit A on this this drum bus here.
Now
We want it to be back to this volume here. So this horizontal line is just our volume. So we just want it to kind of build up maybe 6 dB or so.
Now everyone's
Something like that. Maybe not quite that much.
Now everyone.
And then I feel like those snare hits, I think those could just be quieter too. Whoops. What am I looking at? Oh my goodness, I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. There we go.
Now everyone's looking for Elle.
Maybe I'll turn them down here as well. Just a little bit.
Now everyone's looking for Elle.
So that downbeat just hits a little bit harder. That feels good. By the way, I forgot to mention earlier, this series, which was meant to be a 6-part series, it is now into part 7, is sponsored by Sweetwater. Whatever you feel about sponsored videos, I don't care. I do these videos for free, and I've been doing them for free for a decade now. And Sweetwater said, hey, we have a good relationship. We'd love to sponsor this series. So I said, sure, that's great. So yes, they paid me to sponsor this, but if you go back through the annals of Home Studio Corner history, I've been promoting and talking about Sweetwater long before they started paying me to do it. If that makes sense. If that's awkward for you, I apologize. This is business. Anyway, if you shop for gear and you're needing some gear, give them a shot. Check out their website. They have just about everything. And they generally have a great price. And they have the best service, hands down, bar none. Which is great, because you need that sometimes when packages get lost or things aren't compatible or you have questions before you buy. Sweetwater's the place to go. So go check them out, sweetwater.com. Thank you, Sweetwater. Love you. See you soon, hopefully. All right, let's go continue through our list. Add stereo delay to the breakdown electric guitar. I'm going to decide against those things. I don't want to do those things. I love the downbeat of the choruses. The future on... Yeah, so the vocal has a little bit of an sort of sound to it in general that I want to take care of a little bit more. So let's look at the vocal here.
Oh, well, where did the day you left? Oh, well, where did you run?
So I'm just going to find, a lot of times, especially on my voice and just a lot of vocals, male, female, there's usually a frequency up at like 2K that's just super annoying. And I think I'm hearing that just kind of come through on the sibilants, but also just on the vocal as well.
Now everyone's looking for Elle. Everyone's wondering where she is.
Right there. It's like the resonant frequency of our nasal passages between 2 and 3K. I don't know what it is. I'm not a doctor, but let's just pull that down. Should sound smoother when we do it.
Now everyone's looking for Elle. Everyone's wondering where she is. Everyone's looking for Elle.
Now, I might adjust the de-esser as well, because that where she is really loud, the SH sound.
Everyone's wondering where she is.
So maybe just pull the threshold of that de-esser down a little bit.
Everyone's wondering where she is.
Just a little change. I think that feels good and makes my heart happy. All right, let's go back and check the list. Disappear at the end of verse 2. Let's just check to make sure that we've actually fixed the problem. We're in the chorus right now.
No Hollywood Elle just wanted to disappear.
Yeah, That S feels a lot more reasonable to me. Okay, now, one thing that's controversial that I do, or don't do rather, I don't do a ton of automation. Some songs I feel like they're just a fairly static arrangement where I've set volumes between spaces. So like on the bass, we can see how the bass track, we duplicated it and added distortion, but that distortion only comes in on the choruses, but not on the verses. So that keeps the bass quiet. It's a type of automation because the volume is changing. We've automated the acoustic guitar down. We've automated the drums volume up. We did a little bit of clip gain envelopes on the vocal for certain phrases that were too loud, which is a type of automation. But a lot of folks love to ride faders and move things up and down. I'm all for that. It's just this song, nothing struck me as being out of place and needing a fader ride. A couple of the places that needed that from section to section we've already done. For example, like this guitar lead needed to be quieter here in the outro than over here, so we turned it down, and that fit just fine. So I'm actually going to call this one done, but you certainly could do another pass where you just load up automation on every channel and move faders to your heart's content. That might be a great thing, but I think that would be beyond what I want to do in this series. If you want to go do that as your final step, I say go for it. But here is, for the purposes of this series and this being the last episode and we've gone a little bit long, I'm going to forego any more automation and call this a day. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down, I'm going to render this mix down. I'm not going to put a limiter on the end. It'll just be my mix. I will export it down, and I will put that WAV file in the description of this video. It'll just be a Dropbox link, so you can download it and use it to compare to your own. Maybe you like your mix better than mine. Maybe there's a few things about my mix that you like better, and when you hear the differences, you can go in and fix those. Certainly not mandatory. I'm not saying my mix is going to be the best, but I figured a lot of folks would want my mix to have as you're working through this, so there you go. By the way, if you like this kind of training and you want to go real deep with me, like 10 times deeper than we can go in a 7-part series on YouTube, check out my mixing course. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I just released this mixing course. It is the best way to learn mixing. It's my best material by far. If you've taken any of my courses before, this one blows them away. It's really great. I can't tell you how many people are coming back. The first batch of customers are finishing it and saying, oh man, my mixes have changed dramatically. I can't believe how easy you made it to learn this process, and also how much I've learned and how much better my mixes are. So that's the commercial. It's just at homestudiocorner.com/mix. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If you want to forever be just watching the free videos on YouTube, I welcome it. Please keep doing that. Leave a comment if you have questions, and I will see you around. Thanks for watching.